My brother's wedding was meant to be one of the brightest, most joyful days of my life. I'd poured myself into planning it. Every flower placement, every seat arrangement. Alina, my wife, had stood beside me through it all. Or at least that's what I believed. She looked radiant that evening in a soft green gown embroidered with silver thread, the very dress I had once admired with her in a boutique window. She laughed at my jokes, beamed at our guests, and squeezed my hand as though the world were untouched by anything but happiness. But halfway through the reception, something shifted. We were slow dancing beneath strands of fairy lights, my brother and his new wife just beginning to slice the cake, when Alina leaned in and whispered in my ear, words that would cut deeper than I thought possible. "We need to leave. Now." Her voice wasn't flirtatious or playful. It was flat, urgent, trembling beneath the surface. It clashed with the music, the celebration, the warmth of the evening. I pulled back and stared at her, confused. "What? Why?" I asked in a low voice. She didn't answer. Instead, her eyes flicked over my shoulder, scanning the crowd. The color drained from her face. Her hand tightened around my wrist. Not enough for others to notice, but enough for me to feel it. Her panic throbbed against my skin. "Alina," I said more firmly, my voice edged with concern. "What's going on?" She met my eyes again, and something unspoken passed between us. Guilt, maybe, or fear. Whatever it was real. So real, it made my stomach lurch before she even spoke the truth. "I can't explain here. Please, just trust me." That's when the music blurred into a distant hum. My thoughts began to race. What could possibly be so urgent that she needed to flee from her own brother-in-law's wedding? And why hide it from me? I turned my head and saw him. A tall man standing near the bar, wine glass in hand. Well-dressed, clean-shaven. But it wasn't his appearance that caught my attention. It was the way he was looking at Alina. Not with casual curiosity. No, it was intimate, too familiar. He looked at her like he knew her. Like he knew her before I ever had. "Alina, who is that?" I asked. She didn't respond. Just whispered again, almost pleading. "Please, let's just go." But by then it was too late. The man began walking toward us. Alina's face went ghostly pale. Her fingers slipped from mine, and in that single silent gesture, something inside me cracked. I had walked into that night full of pride, love, and celebration. And now, I stood watching my wife unravel without saying a word. He stopped just a few steps away from us. Everything else, the music, the cheers, the tinkling of glass, faded into nothing. Alina froze beside me. Her body tensed like she'd forgotten how to breathe. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. The man didn't acknowledge me at first. His eyes were fixed on her, unwavering. There was no surprise on his face, no remorse. Just a cold, quiet certainty that turned my blood to ice. "Alina," he said in a calm voice. "You vanished without a goodbye." That one line shattered everything. I turned to her. She looked like she might speak, her lips parting slightly, but no sound came. She didn't even try to deny it. "Who is he?" I asked, a sharper edge rising in my tone. "Alina. Talk to me." She finally faced me, but her expression gave away what her silence hadn't. Her eyes shimmered, not with tears, but with the weight of everything she had buried. She was cornered, and she knew it. "I knew him before you," she said softly. "It was over. I swear it was over." The man scoffed, dry and bitter. "Over? That's interesting. You were in my apartment 3 weeks ago." The words knocked the air from my lungs. I stared at her, my thoughts spiraling, desperate to find another explanation, any reason that would make sense of this. That he was lying. That it was a coincidence. That she hadn't known he'd be here. But she didn't deny it. She didn't fight back. She only lowered her gaze and whispered, ashamed. "I didn't think he'd come." And that's when it hit me. This wasn't chance. She had feared this moment. That's why she'd wanted to leave. Not to protect me, but to escape the confrontation. My brother's wedding, the day that should have been filled with joy, became the moment I discovered my wife had been with another man.
Recently. Secretly.
I trusted you, I said, my voice cracking under the weight. You smiled at me. You held my hand. You kissed me like nothing was wrong. Her tears spilled then, quiet, defeated. I was scared. I thought it was behind me. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, I whispered. You already did. All around us the party carried on. Laughter, dancing, toasts to love and forever, while my world quietly collapsed. I turned and walked away, without another word. I left her standing between me and a stranger I never should have had to meet. I didn't return to the table. I didn't say goodbye. I stepped out into the cold night air and let the truth sink in. The betrayal, the shame, the unbearable sting of losing something I thought was solid. That night I didn't sleep. I lay awake in a guest room at my parents' house. Even with the windows closed, I could still faintly hear the wedding music, a cruel, mocking echo. I stared at the ceiling, rewinding everything I'd seen, everything I'd missed. How many times had she looked into my eyes while carrying that lie? How many "I love yous" had been spoken with lips that still remembered someone else? And still, a part of me wished I could forgive her. Not because she deserved it, but because I didn't want to lose everything we had built. I didn't want to accept that the woman I had trusted, the woman I had shared a life with, was no longer the person I thought she was. The next morning she texted me. Please, can we talk? Panic. I made a mistake. I never meant for it to go this far. I didn't reply immediately. I read her message over and over, hoping to feel something genuine. But all I could remember was her face the moment he approached. That fear. That guilt. That wasn't love. That was fear of being exposed. Later that afternoon I met her at our apartment. It still smelled like her perfume. Like home. But it didn't feel like one anymore. She was on the couch when I walked in. Her makeup smudged from crying. She stood up, but I didn't move toward her. Just tell me the truth, I said. She nodded, wiped her cheeks. It wasn't a long affair. Happened once. I felt lost. And he reminded me of something I thought I missed. But I didn't realize what I had until I almost lost it. I looked around. The photo from our wedding still hung on the wall. The blanket she loved draped over the couch. The fridge cluttered with notes and takeout menus. Our life piece by piece. But none of it meant anything now. I don't hate you, I said. But I can't stay.